Working remotely has been a common theme during the pandemic for many, but for those at Saskatoon's Canadian Light Source, working with others around the world remotely has been their norm for almost 10 years.
On both of our beamlines, we have robots set up so that we just load user samples into a dewar, which is a big vat full of liquid nitrogen, to keep the samples really super cold, and then the robot mounts them on one at a time.
This process is extremely valuable to Peter Davies, a professor and researcher at Queen's University in Kingston. He's been studying what he calls an antifreeze protein in fish and insects.
They all bind to ice and they stop the ice crystals from growing. So for a fish that's going to swim into seawater that's colder than its freezing point, then they're absolutely critical to stop these ice crystals from growing and blocking their circulation.
Davies sent out a call to colleagues around the world for samples of snow fleas, a small insect which is 1 millimeter in length. He heard back from a colleague in Japan who sent him samples, and from there he was able to work with the Canadian Light Source to further inspect the antifreeze proteins using its advanced equipment.
We're really grateful to the people in Saskatoon because they're the ones who maintain the whole equipment, and they maintain the robot, and they'll put the pucks in front of the robot and put them back in the freezer.
Jansen said with samples coming in from researchers around the country and globe, it's exciting to peek behind the curtain and see what's being worked on.
They can have such interesting implications, especially in our field in health. So we've had researchers studying proteins that are involved with HIV, malaria, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, tuberculosis, the list goes on and on.
Davies said the next steps in his research will be to try and engineer the antifreeze protein to make it bigger and more effective. Chad LaRue, CTV News, Saskatoon.